A lot of us want to be financially free. A lot of us also want to retire early. And we think that it just happened like that. Well, not really. Because why? Because in order for you to be financially free and also to retire early, it all must start with one step. The first step. And that first step is setting a financial goal, or I would call it your freedom goal. And this video is about why you should be setting this freedom goal, and at the same time, how you can go about doing it. Hi, my name is Calvin and welcome to my channel. If you want to be financially free and retire early, and you want to learn a bit about investment strategies, start right now by clicking on the subscribe button here and clicking on the bell so that whenever I come up with a new video, you'll be notified. Okay, let's talk about our topic for today, which is financial goals, or I should call it freedom goals. Yeah. Many people think that to achieve financial freedom or even to retire early, that it just happened, just like I mentioned right in the beginning. Well, it is not true, right? It is a fairy tale. Because if you look at people who are already financially free, you will know that if you dig deep enough, a lot more times is that they already have a plan in place, that they actually plan it out. And normally it also will have a plan, there's action, and then there's the most important of all is that goal, that financial goal or that freedom goal that you have. Right? There are actually, for me anyway, there are two methods of doing it, of doing this, crafting this financial goals or even freedom goals. Yeah, there are two ways. I'm going to share with you the first way first, then at the end I will talk about the second way. Okay, now the first way, I think a lot of us would probably be able to understand it, is that the goal is that you begin with the end in mind. That at the end, you want whatever you want to do. I mean, I'll give you an example. Maybe your end goal is that in 20 years time, I want to be financially free. Or it could be in 10 years time, I want to be financially free. So which means you have to plan from today so that in 10 years time or in 20 years time, you will be financially free. So in order to do that, then you also must know where you are in this current position, right? Where you are. I mean, to give another example so that we understand what I'm trying to say. Let's say you want to go to Vegas, okay? You want to go have a good time in Vegas. Now, you want to go to Vegas, how are you going to get there? Well, first of all, you must know where you are, right? Let's say you're in New York and you want to get to Vegas. So how can you get to New York, from New York to Vegas? How do you do that? Well, there are several ways, right? Well, you can take a flight. You can fly there and it's very, very fast, right? And there are also ways you can take a bus, or you can drive there, or even probably take a train, right? So there are many ways that you can get from New York to Vegas, right? Of course, the other things that happen also, you can actually break your journey. At some parts of the journey, you actually take a flight, then some parts you take a train or you drive there. And in a financial plan, in the freedom plan, you can also do that. That at certain parts of your life, you will do different strategies, yeah? So that, for example, when you are young, you have to, you can take a bit of risk. Therefore, you want to fly, you want to do things fast. You take a bit of risk, more risk, therefore you can achieve a higher return. Then as you get older, then you want to go slower. So same, from even like you want to take a journey from New York to Vegas, different ways. In a financial plan, the same is true. This financial goal, the same is true, right? So this is what you must do, that you must know where you are first, okay? So now, how do you do play a situation to know where you are? Well, it begins with a financial statement. I mean, yeah, it's very boring. I know it's very boring. Yeah, it begins with financial statement to know where you are financially, right? Just like all these big companies or even small companies, they also will have a financial statement to know where they are now, okay? So among them, to know that where you are, you must also know, like for example, right, what is your income and what is your expense. Meaning, let's say for example, your salary that you get every month is say $5,000. So you must know what is your expense that you're going out. If your expense is more than your income, surely you're in deep trouble. Where probably you are owing people a lot of money. Every month you're bleeding money in fact. So it's important for you to know your income and your expense. But for a lot of us, we don't know our expenses. It's just happened, right? For a lot of us. So because if we ask you, what's your expenses for the month? No, none of us have any clue what's how much you're paying every month. So that's why it's important for you to start, as a beginning, to start to put this in place. Right? Go and have a look and put on the first of the month up to the end of the month, how much are you spending? How much are you taking money out of your pocket? Whether is it for your food, for your rent, or maybe even your car loan, and things like that. Or maybe even your entertainment, those that you go out for a drink on a weekend, things like that. Yeah, put it all down. Of course, you may not want to put it on paper, because nowadays on your mobile phone, there are apps down there that you can actually help you to list down all your expenses. Of course, if to give a clearer picture, it will be good to do it a few months so that you can take an average. But for a start, let's do it for 1 month so that you know how much is your expenses for the month anyway. So income, expense, yeah. Then the other thing that you need to take stock of, at least at the beginning, so that you know where you are, is in the area of asset and liability. Yeah. Where are your assets and what is your liability? So you must know, whether you have more asset or you have more liability. If you are in more liability, then again you are in trouble again. Yeah. So now, what is asset? Okay, asset. Well, it could be your house. Some people think that that's a debate for another day. Yeah, but your house is an asset. Okay, so which means you can sell off your house, you can still get back some money, and that is an asset. Whereas for liability, it should be something like some of this, your credit card payment that you're owing to the credit card. That is a liability. Or even maybe your student's loan. That is a liability. That's every month you're paying out, and you owe people. No matter what is it, you owe people. So you must know all this, because at the end of the day, to be financially free, ideally you will have your net worth, which means asset minus your liability, right, is very, very high, so that it can generate income for you when you retire. So that's the ideal way. Now, so that's where you know where you are now in terms of asset, liability, and income and expenses. Well, if you think that this is good value for you, now what I suggest for you is to click the like button so that the algorithm will push this video to more people. Just now we talked about income and expense. Well, actually I have done a previous video about these two, how you can increase your income at the same time and lowering your expense. And with that, and controlling these two numbers, and actually there's another third number, you can go towards financial freedom, financial independence. And that video is right here. Yeah, don't watch that video now, keep it aside and watch this video to the end first, then only you watch the other video, okay? Let's talk about our goals, our financial goal or our freedom goal. As I mentioned just now, that we actually want to begin with the end in mind, which means that in 20 years time, let's say for example, you want to retire, you want to be financially free. Right? For the sake of this video, let's fix that number at 20, but of course you can put 10 years, it could be 5 years you want to retire, up to you. But for the sake of this video, let's talk about 20 years. So today we want to decide in 20 years time what's going to happen. And what is the thing? The thing is your lifestyle. In 20 years time, to be financially free, you want to have a $5,000 lifestyle, or is it a $10,000 a month lifestyle? You have to decide, okay? And what is it how are you going to get this income to finance your lifestyle in 20 years time? Well, it begins with all the little steps that's going to happen from now up to the year 20. That you are socking away money, you're taking money out and you're investing it, investing it, so that at the end of year 20, the investments is enough to finance your lifestyle. Yeah, they give you an interest for your lifestyle. I mean, so what is a good number that we look at? Well, in the FIRE movement people, FIRE, F-I-R-E, meaning financial independence, retire early movement. Right? This group of people, they actually have a magic number, magic number, and that number is 4%, right? 4%. So which means if I want a $5,000 lifestyle in the year 20, that means 20 years from today, a $5,000 lifestyle, that investments that I must have at the year 20 must give me enough money to have this $5,000. So if you divide it, if you know per year, right, 5,000 times 12, that means you need to have $60,000 per annum in terms of income. And from there, you work out your 4%, right? So how much money you must have in terms of investment you must have in order for you to give you every year $60,000? Well, you need $1.5 million. That's how much you need. So therefore, from today right up to the year 20, you must accumulate enough investments up to the tune of $1.5 million so that they will give you a 4% return, which will give you $60,000 a year. And that's how you must decide right now, that amount. What is that lifestyle you want? Okay, begin with the end in mind. So how do you accumulate 1.5 million from now right up to the year 20? Well, some people will say, oh, the easy way, they will calculate like, oh, that means $1.5 million divided by 20 years. Therefore, every year I must put aside $75,000. Well, not really true. That's not how you'll do, right? Why? Because of two factors, right? First factor is that because your salary will increase over time, right? Say maybe today, let's say your salary is say $5,000. And probably in 10 years time, 15 years time, your salary will double, your salary will be triple, right? So therefore, today you may be putting aside a small amount of money, maybe a month you're putting aside $300, $200, something like that, yeah? But by the time you are in 10 years time, probably what you do is you'll be putting aside maybe a lot more per month. You're talking about maybe you're putting aside $10,000 a month already. So therefore, begin small bite now, take a small amount of money and you start putting it aside, and so that as you go nearer to the year 20, then you are putting a lot more of your income into this investment, so that in the year 20, you will get $1.5 million in terms of investment. The second thing to factor in is actually interest, or more importantly, compound interest, right? So what I'm trying to say is that when you put money into maybe a certificate of deposit, some kind of investment, right? They will give you an interest, right? So maybe that means, let's say you have $1,000 into this investment. It is not continuously for 10 years, for 20 years. It's continue to stay as $10,000 because you have an interest element to it, right? So your $10,000 will increase, right? Now, the thing about is that you must also know that apart from just interest, is actually another one is the compound interest. Okay, let me just give an example so that you know what I'm trying to say. Imagine you are you have $1,000, okay, and you get from this $1,000, you get a 4% interest for this $1,000. So in order for you to double your money from 1,000 to 2,000, naturally you calculate, how long it takes? 4%? Well, it takes 25 years. So many of us will have this idea because 25% times 4 equals to 100%. Therefore, to double it, you need 25 years, okay? But because of this magic of compound interest, in actual fact, it doesn't take that long for you to double your money. From $1,000 to $2,000, it only takes 18 years instead of 25 years. So that's why you don't have to put aside $75,000 a month, but because of you will be putting aside a lot in the beginning, a little, at the end a lot more, and secondly you have the interest component that will help to build up your investment portfolio to be at $1.5 million. So to get this $1.5 million, it's not going to be a linear line like this, right? Year 0, year 20. No, it's not going to be like that. Because of salary increases, where nearing the end of year 20, you'll probably be putting aside a lot more money. And also because of compound interest, what happens is your net worth, right? Your investment money into it will be a curved thing like this. It will be nearing the end of your period, the 20 years, you will be putting aside a lot more money in this investment pot, so that by the end of year 20, you'll get your 1.5 million. Now, how do you start now, right? Now, how to start year 0, okay? Well, as I mentioned just now, earlier on, we talked about income and expense. Now you know how much is your expense, you know your income, then you start to be doing something where it's more comfortable for you, okay? Maybe you can set aside, say, oh, now I can put aside maybe $100, $200 a month, $300 a month into this investment pot, this investment vehicle, yeah? So how do you do it? Well, when your salary comes in, and whether it's at the end of the month or beginning of the month, when it comes in, do a standing instruction or a direct debit. Well, I don't know what is it called in your country, but what happens is you instruct the bank to automatically transfer a certain amount of money out into another account. Maybe $100, $200. So put into another account. So your salary comes in, goes into another account. Salary comes in, transfer out into another account. That way, it will force, it's sort of like a forced saving, right? Take money out, so that, because a lot of times you'll be using this money for your living expense and things like that. So this money, you could be putting aside into buy shares or to buy unit trusts or things like that, where you can, what you call a dollar averaging, right? Then you can actually be putting aside money to make sure that it goes into an investment, yeah? Right, I think I don't have enough time to talk about the second method. So it's the second method about how you can plan towards this financial freedom, towards that financial goal at the end of 20 years, is going to be in the next video, and that video is right here. So I'll see you again in that next video then.